Welcome to How to ABL. Today is Blast Villain Male Fracture Day. Today is 8/25/2023. I'll tell you what the rotation is, show you it in use, and if you want to stick around, I'll give you additional information. So basically, Magneto, or as I like to jokingly call him, Spamneto. Magneto with a Rage. 5, you're going to delay it until the bubble appears. 2 and 1, you're going to give it a slight delay, but pretty much everything else is spam, including 6. You can instantly cancel everything else. Let's go ahead and show you that in use, and then we'll talk a little bit more if you want to hang around. All right, let me make that rotation, pull that off my screen since I keep leaving it up. There we go. All right, so right away I'm going to go into the 5, and then I'm going to do a 4, 3, 1 slight delay, 2 slight delay. The reason I do 4 and 3 first is pretty much since they're instantly cancelable, I want to get them out of the way so I can do that slight cancel on the others. You'll notice that I use 7 right away, 6 right away. I'm not going to call out all of them, just due to the fact that, as you can see, they're pretty much all instant cancels. Use 7 as soon as it's on cooldown. There is a nice little bump if you're able to pull off 5, 7, 6, but it's not important to focus on that. Wait till a sword is in the air, pop the 2, you'll get the cancel pretty much right away. And since I was talking, I delayed those skill cancels. You don't want to do that. You want to try to stay focused on getting the rotation as tight as possible. The quicker that you can charge up that 6 so that you can use it as much as possible and still not miss your orbs, then you are going to be in good shape. Look for that purple light off in the distance. You will notice that I did have the graphics turned down a little bit. When you have a lot of high animations going on, there can be lag on your system. Since I'm playing on an emulator on my PC, I do want to turn the graphics down just a hair with characters like Magneto or Jean. Surprisingly, Jean usually does better in ABL than Magneto does, but for today, for Blast Villain Day, Magneto's your go-to, even though he's actually better at ABX. Alright, so far so good. We're about to have the Othin Force disappear, and we are going to make sure that we pick up that orb. There's that purple light, it's picked up, cool. When it drops on you, that's super helpful for keeping your score as high as possible. But yeah, all of these are pretty much instantly cancelable. Just make sure you're getting your bubble and do that just not even a full half-second delay on 1 and 2. Just don't instantly cancel it. Don't like mash the buttons for 1 and 2. Alright, he's going to jump center, so we're going to hold that 6 for just a second. As soon as he is targetable, I'm going to do my 6, 3, 1, 2. His sword is raised. There's the cancel, nice and clean. Continue into basically spamming the skills. No real tight rotation. Just look for those cooldowns. Pop in that co-op striker skill right there. Boom, boom. Nice. And let me make sure I pick up that orb, so I'm going to pause for a second while my skills are on cooldown. If you want to throw in some auto attacks in between, if you do have all skills on cooldown at the same time, you can. Just make sure that you are focusing the skills before the auto attacks. The auto attacks are just fillers. Alright, so we're about to get the final orb here. Yep, it's about to drop, and we are going to skyrocket that score at the end. Oh, grab that. There we go. So that last Othin Force boost really gonna send that score up high. There we go. I did just run this before I needed to reset the video, so I am outscoring my previous score, which is good. With Magneto, because his procs aren't real tight with the rotation, there is possibilities that you are going to end up getting a varying degree of score that you end up hitting. 7.9 is a very respectable score for Magneto specifically. I think my Jean scores closer to 9.5 to 10 million on open day. But this is a restriction day. So let's talk about my account, how I have my character built, and some recommendations I have for the team. So, alright, let me make sure I write that down in the right slot. Okay. And then I'll come back and start with cards. Cards is the most important thing to consider when you're working on stuff. Like, let me put this back up to medium, like ABL. Your cards, especially with Pierce, is massively important. So this is what I have for my cards. I've been trying to re-roll some cards that have all attack blue star for the last one, and I'm focusing on that more than getting Pierce. I probably shouldn't have, so I'm stuck at 16% Pierce. In ABL specifically, you want 25% Pierce. It's going to make a huge difference. Your attack stats don't cap, so you want your attack as high as humanly possible, and if you can, you want it spread out pretty evenly. I am pretty heavy on the energy attack versus physical, but those are my cards. Let's take a look at my Magneto. So, in my opinion, today, Magneto is hands down the meta for today. You do want his Krakoan Winter uniform. It is a seasonal uniform, but it definitely does the best. If you missed it, it's worth picking up next time unless he ends up getting replaced. Keep an eye on that. There are alternatives, words are hard, but Magneto right here is definitely the best. So his details, let's look at his details. When you're working in any of the ABs, if you're doing ABL, you already know this, you want to cap a lot of these stats. All these ones that I have as gold, those are the ones you want to try to cap. Very important for scoring as much as possible. Reduce cooldown and ignore defense must be at 50, no question. With a rage, obviously critical rate and dodge are important too. Critical damage and attack speed, all useful stats to have, so try to work on those. The gears that I have everything amplified. I've got a lot of Odin's Blessings going on with my head in the way here. If you are going to put Urus on there, try to make them at least 5-star Urus. Do try to amplify them. You don't have to have them all amplified. You can go with at least 3 to 4 amplified, making sure that the attack ones are amplified, but having them all is very useful for your characters. I like to work on all the skills. It actually ends up being that Thor, specifically for ABL, ends up being one of the best strikers to boost your score. Having him built is important. Your striker does do more damage for your account when they're actually built. I have a tier 4 Thor with a brilliant. I'm sorry, he doesn't have a brilliant. He has a rage. I don't know why I said brilliant. So Thor with a rage, I believe it's a mighty, is basically helping my score get a little bit higher than it would have otherwise. Type, you can increase it if you want to. The attack sets, as usual, you want an attack set. Poa, Overdrive, Arena of Hawkeyes. Make sure that they're all 6 stars and all fully awakened to have all red stars. Artifact, I do not have as an artifact. I wish I did. I do have an instinct type match for tier 4 characters. Instinct type match is important. It does add to your actual damage that you do. I have a mighty rage on him. Having a mighty rage and having it in rage does help with my score. So it is important, of course, to have that rolled up as well, but having the enraged over the all attack. His uniform is a mythic uniform. The options inside of here, if you're curious, we have Blue Marvel Classic, we have Iron Man Back to Basics, we have Jean Grey X-Men Red, we have Hawkeye Marvel Studios Hawkeye Hero Suit, and we have Jessica Jones Jewel, just in case you're curious. All right, let's talk about the team build-up and possible alternatives for today. So if I come on back over here, to Arena, to Alliance Battle, challenge my record. So Magneto works for his own leadership. He does that increase 50% all attack for basic attacks. The 2 best supports in the game for Magneto for this day is going to be Cyclops with his Phoenix 5 villain uniform. If you do not have that, you can't put him on the team, but Cyclops does have this passive. Where is it at? All allies get that 30% increase of energy. I don't think he has a passive on his uniform, not that I've noticed. I don't put an insight on him. I actually put it on Mysterio because Mysterio is usable for more days. Having an insight character on your team will help increase, so I definitely recommend doing that. Mysterio's newest uniform, Summer Mystery, which unfortunately is a seasonal uniform, is what makes him really, really good. Now, with this uniform, I don't remember if it's a uniform effect. I think it is. So all supervillain allies, not only does there increase the basic attack, but the best support ability in the game is damage dealt. So you're getting 40% on damage dealt, plus that 30% for all basic attack too. So it's a wonderful uniform to have, and he is definitely worthy of an insight, so I put the insight on him. As far as getting it mythic, that's not important. Just having the uniform is what's important. So that's the basic team. Considerable alternatives that you might consider. Mephisto is extremely expensive, but he does work if you have him built. He's just nowhere near as effective as using Magneto. Other people that I would consider on this roster, not really a lot. Maybe Ebony Maw, who's a little bit cheaper to build. Strife might do pretty decent, especially with the fact that he has a new uniform coming out right around the corner. He might actually be meta for today. But as of right now, it is Magneto as a go-to. I would say Mephisto, Ebony Maw, and Strive as considerable backups. There is also, if you wanted to use Malekith, if you have his War of the Realms uniform, he does do good. But again, we're talking fractions, a third, maybe, possibly a half of what Magneto is capable of doing, even if he's built. I don't know if I would consider using anyone else today. That would probably be my main go-to right there. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful at all, consider thumb-upping and leaving comments. That helps the algorithm. Thanks for watching, and may your ABL score be as high as possible.